Hey guys, it's Bridget. So today I'm doing another request video, and this video was requested. I always want to say screen name, but that's so like 2004. Her username is Grimes Devotion, and she requested that I talk about my acting background. So I was kind of hesitant to do this video at first because I felt like it'd be like, look at me and like all this crap I did, but it was requested, and I have like videos and like pictures and stuff that I'll insert, so hopefully, I mean, if you came here for like a beauty or fashion video, I understand if you want to click away, but I'm gonna be sharing my Bougie, if you know what I mean. So here we go.
I'm working on getting into a good college.
Yeah, boring.
So I use Cox high-speed internet for downloading online tutorials and researching school websites. You know, important stuff that you need a fast connection for.
Since we got Cox high-speed internet with Power Boost, my uploads and downloads are even faster, so I win all my games.
Whatever. When I was younger, from the time that I was about 5 to 10 or so, I was a gymnast, like 36 hours a week, competition, gymnastics. I was going to the Olympics, like it was my life. Gymnastics was the thing. So I was super duper into that. And then at that time in my life, I was homeschooled. So we would go to this, they call it like a homeschool co-op kind of thing. And it's a place where you can take other classes and things outside of your like regular homeschooling. And my mom signed me up for the theater class. And at first I was like not jazzed at all about it. But once we got into it, I like really enjoyed it. We did a little bit from Oliver, and then it was the first time that I did Annie, and I played Molly, the like little crying orphan or whatever. I did that, and then I just really enjoyed it. And my teacher, she was very like connected in like the acting, theater, TV scene in the area. And she told my mom that they were auditioning for an ABC Family pilot and that she thought I should audition for it. And my mom was like, well, okay, if she wants to do it. And I was like, of course I do. So I auditioned and I got the part in an ABC Family pilot. The pilot like never like made it to air or anything. It was just a standalone pilot episode. But it was a lot of fun, and from that point on, I was just hooked. I did all the theater I could, any sort of like TV, anything I could get my hands on, wanted to do. I just really found my thing, and I really enjoyed it. So I did lots of theater there, and then my family actually moved to Nebraska, where it turns out there wasn't any gymnastics, at least not in the city that we were living in. So that was when I really like made the choice to not do gymnastics anymore, obviously, because I didn't really have a choice at the time, and I really just pursued acting like full force. And then my older brother Dan is actually a performer as well, so we sort of did a lot of things together. Again, I did a ton of theater. There was a really great children's theater there, an incredible director named Susan who like really taught me so much. I was able to do so many shows with her, like best Christmas pageant ever. And then there was a summer repertory theater in the area, so every summer like college students and professionals would come in for the summer and do a series of shows, and then local talent was also invited to join in those productions. So I did that every summer. I basically lived at the theater during the summer. I did Annie there for the second time, and I actually got to play Annie that time, so that was a ton of fun. And then I also got to like assist and direct shows and do all sorts of things in the theater. I learned how to run a light board and a sound board, and I just loved every single thing about theater. Like it didn't matter what I was doing, I just wanted to be in there with those people making a show. I just absolutely loved everything about it. And then around that same time, I was like 12, I think, my brother and I went to this, I guess it's sort of like a talent convention kind of thing, and you come prepared with, you know, like monologues, and if you're a singer or a dancer, you come prepared to do those things, and you basically perform in front of a panel of agents and managers from LA and New York who are looking for talent to represent. So my brother and I went there and we did that, and from that experience I was able to get a manager who was based in Los Angeles to represent me, and that was huge. Like it was a really big turning point, just going from like local theater to actual like big time like TV and film kind of stuff. And as much as I loved theater, I also really enjoyed TV and film for different reasons. And at the time, things just things seemed to be going down that path, so I definitely wanted to pursue that. So my mom and I made several trips to LA And I definitely like learned a lot, especially if you've done any type of like acting or auditioning. You know, it's really tough because you get all excited and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this one, and then you don't. It's definitely difficult, and the best advice someone told me is go in, do your best, and then forget about it, because then if you get the part, you'll only be pleasantly surprised instead of let down. So I definitely learned how to take rejection pretty well at that time. Some of the things I auditioned for, the movie Akilah and the Bee, I auditioned for that. It was funny though, because I auditioned for the part where it's the girl who won the spelling bee like the previous year. So like my audition, like I read the sides or whatever, and then the casting director was like, so you just won the spelling bee, how do you react? And I just started like screaming like in the audition room. I was like, woo, oh my gosh. I didn't get the part. I think I was just a little too excited. Anyways, so that was one of the things. And then another big part of that time in my life was I actually auditioned for Hannah Montana, the TV show. And that was a really cool experience because like I went in for the first audition and got several callbacks, and it was really cool because I definitely had to learn how to like think on my feet. Like they would choreograph a dance for us and we'd have to do that, and then we'd have to sing, and then we'd act the next day, and I definitely went through the process, and it was definitely really hard because obviously I didn't get the part, but I definitely like learned a lot and enjoyed just every second of it, getting to be with other actors and just honing my own skills and things like that. And then also just like hanging out with my mom and my brother in LA was pretty cool. So that's that. And then I also took acting classes while I was out there, and I lived at the Oakwood Apartments in Burbank, if you're familiar with that. It's a place where a lot of kids come out for pilot season and all sort of live in this apartment complex, and they have acting classes there, and you're all sort of like living together trying to be child actors and stuff. And it was kind of weird, but really fun at the time. So that's that. And then when I was about 14, we moved to Alabama, and there was again a really great community theater there, so I did tons more theater. I did like Anne Frank and High School Musical and Seussical the Musical. We'll insert video of that. And then also in Alabama, Helen Keller, the like actual person, was born in Alabama, and they have like a museum and everything there where you can go to her house and walk through and everything like that. And then at the house, they actually every summer do the play The Miracle Worker, which is the story of Annie Sullivan and Helen Keller, if you aren't familiar with that. And they perform it at her birthplace in Alabama, and I got the opportunity to play Helen Keller. And that was just a really, really cool experience because on any given night there were people from all over the country, all over the world, because, you know, Helen Keller touched so many people's lives, and it was really cool. You know, blind and deaf people would come for the show, and at the end, if they were blind, like we got to lead them around the set and everything. And it was things like that that really like solidified why I wanted to be a performer, because you can really touch people's lives, and I just think that is absolutely super duper cool. So playing Helen Keller was really, really huge, and I definitely learned a lot because, as you know, she was blind and deaf, and it's definitely hard to play blind and deaf when you aren't blind and deaf. So really, really cool. And then also during that time, one of the guys who was one of the directors in the Alabama theater scene was connected with an agent in New York City, and I got the opportunity to go and audition for her, and she represented me for a little while, and I got to audition for a couple Broadway shows, Mary Poppins being one of them. I auditioned for Jane Banks, obviously didn't get it. This is kind of the story of rejection, but it's okay. Still love it. So yeah, that was really cool as well. And then also during that time, I really got back into film, and because I was pretty close to Atlanta, I was able to get an agent in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Barbara, she's awesome. And then during that time I did lots more auditioning. I did a short film where I got to meet a lot of cool people and gain a lot of film experience. I also did several commercials, which helped me pay for college later. So that was all really awesome, a really good experience. That was all like through high school, I guess. And then I moved to San Diego to go to film school because when I was deciding where to go to college, I was actually going to go to school for acting, but then just through a series of events, a lot of people told me that, you know, acting is one of those things that you either can do or you can't, and while, you know, taking classes is definitely helpful, you can do that outside of a university or a college setting. And a lot of people told me that it's really good to be able to do things like on the other side of the camera so that you're more employable and you can have sort of like a real job while you're pursuing acting. And I thought that was just really good advice. So I went to film school for producing communications media, so sort of like the business of media, if you will. And I did that. And then at the end of college, I was able to work on a film called Red Line. It's at Redbox if you want to watch it. And I was the assistant to the producer, but it was a pretty like small set, so I think all of us ended up being like 37 different roles or whatever, so that was a really cool experience. And I actually got to work in the casting department, which was awesome because for the first time I got to be on the other side of the table in a casting session, and I just think that's like awesome. I just love any type of thing like that, so that was a really, really good experience. And then after that was when I sort of got into the whole like YouTube, social media kind of thing, and now I have Broke but Bougie, and it's kind of cool because I get to be on this side of the camera and making videos, talking to you guys, and it sort of like touches on that performing bone that I have in my body that I love. And then, you know, like working with guys that help me film and stuff like that, just the whole process of making videos, and I'm just really, really enjoying it. And I do miss theater. I'm actually doing a couple auditions later this month for local theater in San Diego because I really do miss that part and just being in that environment with those kind of people and things like that. So I think theater especially will always just be a huge part of my life because it's where I sort of like started and found my passion for acting and performing and things like that. So yeah, I hope this video wasn't too rambly. I hope you kind of enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel because you guys are awesome, and I don't want you to miss new videos every Wednesday and Friday. You guys are awesome, beautiful people. Stay bougie, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.